Now we shift our attention to FlyQuest. Oh, FlyQuest. Oh, boy. This was a tilting one. Watching this one, Tyler, I had hope. I really did. I did have hope. I was like, yes, in good position. Could it actually happen? Is this gonna be it? And then the engage.
Yep.
And then Ignar.
Oh no. Yeah, it was great.
What happened? What happened?
Well, first off, I just want to give myself credit because you asked me yesterday how is FlyQuest going to beat DRX, and I told you I gave you the game plan.
Mm-hmm.
First, put Solo on Orn. What did Solo play today?
What?
He played the Orn. He played the Orn. He played the Horn. He played the Orn. Gave him something very safe, very simple, a great team fighting champion, which Solo is a very good team fighter. And he did very well in lane. He looked great, was never really pressured, almost got a solo kill on Dorian. Good job there. I also said the second thing, pick a very easy to do, simple, executable team fight 5v5 composition. They did just that. They built around the team fight, they got the Orn, and even though they were down 1,000 gold to DRX, they were scaling. They had the 5-on-5 team fight, they had 2 Inferno Drakes going towards a soul, and it didn't feel like DRX was really going to fight for that third Drake to begin with. So they would have had three Drakes on Inferno Soul point, and it was all going great. They were scaling, everyone was doing well, everything felt perfect in that moment. And then they fight for the second Herald, which is not really worth it a lot of times. You would much rather just put your solo laner, your top or mid laner, down into the bottom lane to grab plates, or not plates, grab the tower that's still standing, grab minions, set up a vision around dragon. You would much rather just do that if you don't necessarily need it or don't have top side majority there. But FlyQuest was like, okay, Santorin was like, I'll check it out, maybe I can steal it. If you can steal it and get out if nothing lost, that's great. So he does it. Doesn't get it, that's fine. He's going to ult over the Baron pit, get back into his own jungle, and we're going to go on merry way, scaling, going to the third Infernal, and then continue your win con of getting that Infernal Soul and just winning on 5-on-5 team fights with the ornaments and the Orn scaling, and basically that's it. But Ignar, I don't want to put it all on Ignar. I mean, Wild Turtle just threw out the ultimate, the Ashe ultimate, the arrow, to see if he can stun someone. And I believe that was what they were trying to go for. They were trying to stun someone, and then Ignar would jump in on Pantheon, and then they would combo something together, and it would be an instant kill or something. I don't even think he hit enough damage. It was really it was really, really janky. So Ignar comes in, 1v4. FlyQuest does the fight over flight, where they're like, okay, we gotta save our boy. So they go into full fight mode, and they are all discombobulated. Graves doesn't have his ult. Everything just kind of falls apart, and they lose the fight. A 1K gold deficit that was very manageable and was kind of tipping in their favor instantly became 3 to 4K gold. And from that point, it was just over. The Caitlyn on the other team got their items. I think she got IE from that fight of Ignar inting, and that game was essentially over from there. So it was not the brightest moment for Ignar, but I'm happy they were proactive. Mm-hmm. FlyQuest of all the NA teams have had the best early game so far. Really good early game versus TES before Solo died in won the Volley Bear versus Camille 3v4, which was terrible. Second game versus UOL, they won that game. Congratulations. And then again, really good early game. They were scaling well, and then just another mistake by a player kind of ruined it.
I want to put a little bit of optimism here because FlyQuest were very competitive in this match. I think we can't harp on the Ignar engage. Like you said, optically it looks bad, but it wasn't necessarily the singular reason why FlyQuest lost, even though it might have snowballed from there. It might have snowballed from there. But there were other things that happened in the game that you can't necessarily There were other factors.
They could have left. They could have left them there. They could have cut their ties and been like, "Okay, we're just gonna let Ignar die
and get back into it." Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They could reset, yeah.
What I want to ask though is, and we can even generalize this from the 3 games, because you did make a very good point there about FlyQuest's early game, and it seems like there's 1 or 2 identifiable moments in those games that led to their downfall in each game. So is your and I'm not asking about your NA optimism, that's next. We're not getting to that now. In particular, FlyQuest, do you still have confidence that they could shore up these errors against these teams the second time around?
Yes and no. I can clearly say I think FlyQuest is a good team. Like, they are a world's level team. They deserve to be here. They do not look out of place against DRX or even TES, even though TES was kind of a stomp. I think FlyQuest, even though they had a bit of falter with the solo incident, him dying twice in lane, they still team fought really well, and they still punished TES when they overextended. And then DRX, I think they looked like a team that belonged versus one of the better teams in the tournament so far. So, yes, I think they can shore up these weaknesses. I think they can play a cleaner game. I think Ignar, even though he had a bad second game, was one of the main reasons why they won the first one versus Love. And if they're going to have any chance of making out of this group, Ignar and Centauran are going to have to lead the charge with their roaming and kind of do the skirmish style of getting these outnumber attacks on, or getting these picks off. Like, that's really going to come down to how FlyQuest has any chance, because individually in laning phase they don't have a shot versus DRX or TS, especially TS. DRX, they have Chovy, and we saw Deft and Kyria just run over Wild Turtle and Ignar. Obviously, Ignar likes to roam, so leaving Wild Turtle by himself, it's just a dicey proposition, because Deft and Kyria, DRX are going to draft compositions that empower their bottom lane because they feel confident in that matchup. So my optimism for FlyQuest is, I feel better about them as a team. I think they're really good. I think they have shown that they belong, but for them getting out, they most likely will have to beat DRX 2 straight times on their match day. They would have to beat them the first time and then beat them in a tiebreaker more than likely. And that's just a tough task. Maybe once I can see it back to back, that is a tough ask. I just can't see that without DRX really falling apart.
Yeah, that best of one advantage goes away very quickly when you have to play a back to back like that.